What's up everybody, welcome to another episode of Gaming History, where we cover the history of rare, cancelled, unreleased, or otherwise interesting games. In this episode, we will be discussing the cancelled third Oracle game produced by Capcom. But to know what the third game could have been, you need to understand what the Oracle series was. If you're a newer fan of the Zelda series, or never owned a Game Boy or Game Boy Advanced while growing up, you have likely missed out on the Oracle games, especially considering a lot of people just ignored them because they weren't exactly developed by Nintendo. This is due to Nintendo's prior partnership with Philips that led to 3 of the worst Zelda games ever made. To put it lightly, they left a bad experience with fans to not always trust Nintendo games that weren't created by Nintendo. And yes, the Philips games were even worse than the series of Tingle games, which is basically a series of Zelda games that play identical to a traditional style Zelda game, except it replaces Link with Tingle, takes away the story elements, gameplay mechanics, puzzle solving, sense of adventure and exploration, combat system, and about 99% of anything else that could be considered fun about a Zelda game. But aside from those few differences, it's essentially the same as Breath of the Wild or The Wind Waker. In fact, due to such positive fan reaction, Nintendo is allowing you to play in Tingle's costume in Breath of the Wild. But let's get back to the third Oracle game. Maybe we could do a video on the Tingle series soon. The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons are very unique to the series. Not only are they 2 out of the 3 traditional style Zelda games not created by Nintendo, the other being Minish Cap, which is also created by most of the same team, they are the only Zelda games developed from the ground up to work with each other. The third game was also in development, but was cancelled somewhere around midway through development. The Oracle series actually had an all-star cast of designers, producers, and developers. While the main load of work was done by Capcom, Nintendo also had some input as well. The lead director of the game, and please forgive me if I mispronounce any of these names, was Hidemaru Fujibayashi, who is also the director of Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild. Producer of the game was Noritaka Funamizu, who has produced dozens of different Capcom franchises, from Street Fighter and Resident Evil to Monster Hunter and Dragon Ball Z. The Oracle games even did so well that Nintendo and Capcom continued their partnership for the Four Swords series and Minish Cap. Capcom would eventually put one of their best developers, Keiji Inafune, as lead director of the series. For those who don't know, as Miyamoto can be thanked for Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, and possibly dozens of other great original IPs, Inafune is a legendary creator in his own right, having worked on several new IP himself, from being the lead developer or producer in the Mega Man and Onimusha series, to not so critically acclaimed games like Mighty No. 9. So I highly recommend to check out the Capcom line of Zelda games. So what exactly was this third game? How did it start development? And why was it cancelled? Let's find out. In a collaboration with Capcom, an idea was proposed to remake the original Legend of Zelda for the Game Boy Color. This idea was later turned into a trilogy of new original games designed around the hardware, instead of adapting a previous game to the new console. This is also the reason as to why the map of Holodrum resembled the original map of Hyrule from The Legend of Zelda, and why several of the bosses were also similar. Each game in this new trilogy would take its own piece of the Triforce and its own goddess. The Chapter of Power had a season theme featuring a Rod of Seasons to alter the 4 seasons and solve puzzles. The Chapter of Wisdom featured an item called the Magic Paintbrush, which was to be used to solve color-themed puzzles. The Chapter of Courage was to have a theme of time, using morning, noon, evening, and night to solve puzzles. When each game was completed, you would be given a code that could be used in the second game, which when beaten, would again give you a code to be used in the third game. No matter which order you completed the games in, you would be able to have the full experience. In the end, this idea ended up being too complicated to develop for the Game Boy Color, and instead, we were given Oracle of Ages, which focused heavily on puzzle solving, Oracle of Seasons, which focused on combat, and certain ideas and features for the third game made its way into the 2 that were released. The idea of using a code to unlock a new story, final boss, and ending in the second game was still carried over, which made it essential to buy both games in order to have the full experience. Some of you may be comparing this to Pokemon, as they traditionally launch with 2 separate versions, but where most Pokemon games share the same world and have slightly different stories and Pokemon that can be caught, each of the Zelda games were completely different from each other. It makes me wish Nintendo would revisit this idea. What's up everybody, Game Over Jesse here, and if you enjoyed this video and are into awesome nerdy geeky content like we are, consider subscribing to Geek Fuel, a monthly subscription box that is guaranteed to have over $50 worth of great stuff in every box. You'll receive an exclusive shirt, games, collectibles, and other geek-related greatness. Use the link geekfuel.com/GameOverJesse to not only get $3 off of your subscription, but to help out our channel as well, which means more time to work on more videos for you guys. I want to thank you all for watching this video, and welcome to the End Slate. If you're a fan of these videos, please subscribe and comment below to let me know your thoughts. If you would like to support this channel, please consider supporting on Patreon, where you can watch videos like this early, and help me create longer videos like the top 10 best and worst of Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild, and the top 5 official Zelda games that have either been cancelled or just went unreleased. Finally, a huge thank you to this month's supporters: George Says Hi, Link Uses the Triforce, Transcendent Sacred Courage, Glenn Cassio, Prey Warrior, Victopedia, Rusty Caulfield, Robert W., Amanda Pina, Lunarium, Chris Gasparin, Harris Priest, Lovable Christie, Key of Time 15, Jerome Measure, Daryl Quinnen, Furzin 16, Kadron, Magic Tech Review, and The Itch Network.